Hey, I'm Nick Williams. In this video, I'm going to cover part 2 in the very best presentation. I want you to stay with me on this video because it's very, very important. And it may seem as though I'm going off on some tangents that don't make sense, but they do. So stick with me. The purpose of the very best presentation is that your client genuinely likes you. They genuinely like you. They want to do business with you. I went through this in the first video, but you'll be able to cross-sell them. They'll give you referrals because they like you. Okay, so enough of that. It's like people, they walk to the front door and they have this backpack full of life, problems, issues, concerns. Most people walk around with this backpack and it's all hunched over. I have another name for it, which I'm not going to go into that now, but you cannot walk to the front door with the problems of your relationship, with the argument that you had with your boss or your coworker, another agent, maybe the home office, whoever it is. You can't walk to the door with those problems. You have to be able to shed that stuff. If you can't, that's a problem, right? Because you won't be present for that meeting. You won't be present with a clear, happy smile, a relaxed demeanor because you're carrying these problems. And we all have some problems, but again, you cannot carry them into the house. You cannot carry them to the front door. You can't carry the worry of rejection to the front door, which we've covered. I just put it in a different terminology. You cannot carry your concerns about money to the front door. It's like you weighing all this stuff into your backpack and it's just weighing you down. You know, it's just weighing you down. You cannot do that and be successful. Okay, so let's see. You cannot be in a rush to get to someplace else, shall we say. And by that, I don't mean the next appointment so much, but that too. That's why I don't work on a strict time schedule, but you can't be rushed to get home to watch the game. You know, you can't be rushed to get home to watch the show. You can't be rushed to get home because you got to see the boys at the bar or something. You can't be rushed for any reason. And I'll tell you something, if there are other priorities, that's a problem. That's a problem if there are other priorities. So you cannot have priorities over this. Have you had enough sleep? Are you coming to the door and you're tired so you're not able to be present? Is it somewhere you walk to the door because you're not comfortable with your appearance? Maybe you have too much weight, or maybe you're just not happy with the way that you look at this given time for whatever reason, because you haven't had sleep and you look wore out, or because you've had too much stress and you just feel like uptight. Therefore, you would think your appearance displays that. You're not pleased with your physical appearance for whatever reason. That's a problem. You cannot do your job. You got to be 100% comfortable, down with it 100%. For any reason, if you cannot relax and be totally present and not have these worries, and stay with me, do not stop this video. This is important. And here's the reason you can't stop listening to this. The reason is because most people are not going to be successful. Either you're going to do what everybody else is doing, which I find appalling, that when I watch how many people fail, or you're going to break this pattern and do something special. That's important, okay? People say, I was talking to this guy the other day. I met him up in Charlotte, and he told me, and he may watch this, he told me, he says, like, he actually said, Nick, you're kind of out there. And he didn't say it as an insult. He just said, he said, well, I guess you kind of got to be to do what you do. You know what? You got to be kind of out there as well. I certainly, and that person, I think, agrees with that concept. I don't think that being part of the crowd is anything, or being normal is anything to be proud of, or it's not admirable. I don't want to be part of the crowd, but I'm not trying to be special. I'm not trying to be unique. I'm just trying to be the true person that I was kind of like born to be. Certainly not somebody that's being molded and guided by pop culture, I'm not going to follow people. I'm not going to idolize, be a fan. And I know, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. People follow and become fans and become fanatics and with sports or activities that are not synergistic with the success of their business, of themselves as a person. So I say that's unwise. And I've done this where I've had people, where I've had videos where I've talked about things where I was kind of sort of like, don't do this. This is not good. And it's not like I'm trying to preach. I'm really not. I'm trying to help. But it's like I say, perhaps too much time invested in, say, NFL. I'm a big fan. I'm from Baltimore. We have the Baltimore Ravens. I've said this before. We had a preseason game last night. I followed a little bit on my app, and that's it. You know, I kind of watch who's, you know, did the quarterback, we got a new quarterback, is he becoming effective or is he not becoming effective? Just through the stats and stuff like that, because I like the stats. That's how I grew up, watching the box scores in the paper each morning from the baseball games and stuff. But I'm not going to follow the Twitter accounts of these people. I'm not going to do fantasy football. I'm not going to watch ESPN. It's all drivel. It's all just a waste of time. It's like, man, the amount of time and effort people put into other things is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So do things that are synergistic with your success. Do things that are going to help you prosper and not watch other people prosper. So anyhow, I make videos sometimes, and I know at the end of the video, when I'm done the video, I know what's going to happen. It's like people will unsubscribe or they'll do thumbs down. I know. Sometimes I can kind of sort of, in some cases, I actually know the people that it will aggravate. I mean, literally, I know them. So it's kind of interesting. And then I know the response I get, and then I know the response I'm going to get, and then I get it. So it's almost like people are so predictable. And because many people just kind of sort of follow the crowd. So they become very, very predictable. I want you, and I'm going to elaborate on these things. The stories are a big deal. Very much a big deal. Being relaxed is a big deal. You're going to figure this out, because if you don't, the odds are you're not going to make it. The people that are watching this video are people that are looking for more information and trying to get better. But I've said this before. What they do is they chase leads and chase programs and chase products. That's not the answer. The answer is you being a better person. Like, for example, I eat a certain way. I work out. I'll ride a bicycle sometimes. I never did this as a youngster. In the past 5 years, I've done everything to change my entire life because I knew that I had to, because I was living that life of kind of like where I was just fitting in, and I knew that was wrong. And I knew I could never become, again, that true person that perhaps, I don't know, just so cliche, that person I was meant to be. And the person that you're meant to be, that you can come out and be dynamic in your own way. It will be totally unlike me. It will be totally unlike any other person, but you will be the dynamic person. And then you could go to a door, and when that person answers the door, you're like, hey, how's it going? How are you? And then you go in and you have life, and you have your original, and you have your presentation, not a presentation, a product presentation, but just your presentation as a person comes through, and it radiates, and it's powerful. That's where you need to be. That's when you'll sell everybody, and everybody that can be sold. Let's see. Perhaps you need to be a little bit out there as well. I will tell you that you need to follow this series. If you're not killing it, you're either killing it or you're not. If you're killing it, then you probably don't need to watch this, because you've probably found you're probably out there yourself, right? But if you're not killing it, you should watch this. Follow this series. And again, the series of videos, or the playlist, is the very best presentation. This is number 2 in that playlist. And if you would, like our videos, this video, subscribe to Medicare Millionaire, and even share the video if you could. That is actually the best way that we get the most traction. And let's see, I think I've covered all my notes, and I'm going to end it right there. Have a wonderful day.